Thank you for listening to Two Girls, One Plant.
We're your hosts, Madison
And Jillian, and this week we're talking about the genus Philodendron.
coming out of the garage of Jolted Media Studio.
How's your week been?
Good. How about yours?
You know, I can't complain, honestly. Busy, but good.
Yeah? What's been new? What's keeping you busy in life?
Oh man, I'm working super hard. It's like I actually got to harvest a bunch of plants today at work, which was fun.
I saw your IG story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. I was a happy camper.
Was that your first time harvesting?
Yeah.
At work? Okay.
Yeah, normally I'm like trimming or defanning
Right.
and like doing that kind of stuff. And harvesting is more of a boy's job. So they send like 2 or 3 of them to go harvest. And they use like, you know, big pliers and all kinds of, you know, bullshit to take all the trellis and everything off.
Okay.
But today my manager let me and Kat, this other girl that works there, literally do the harvest ourselves all day.
Okay.
It was so fun. We killed it.
How big are those plants?
They're like really big, honestly. One of them was taller than me. Yeah, it's a lot.
I think that's the picture you had, right? Where it was like freaking huge.
It was huge. And there were some that were bigger than that.
What kind did you harvest?
We harvested all kinds of stuff, like Chem Dog, Apple Sherbet,
Okay.
Wonder Dog, let's see, Tray Star, Everglue, which is basically jet fuel.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a huge list. We had a lot of stuff we had to take down.
Damn, girl.
Yeah.
She's out here harvesting.
It was fun, man. I'm not gonna lie. It was really fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm like super jealous. You're gonna have to like pass your knowledge on to me when I start growing. I'm gonna start growing here like in the next month.
That's exciting.
So wish me luck.
I want to grow at home too, like in the spring when it starts to get a little warmer out. We'll see.
Yeah, that's about when I was thinking.
Right?
Maybe we could do like a future episode talking about our journey with cannabis, but growing it,
That'd
not
be
smoking
fun.
it.
I like it. How have your plants been?
They've been good. So I know a few episodes ago we talked about like top tips for beginners, and I mentioned like the grow lights.
Yeah.
That I use, and it's been a while now, and I love those grow lights. They're amazing. Oh my God. If you can go back, it was episode 2. The link is in the show notes. Mm-hmm. Buy them if you're looking for grow lights, because honestly, it has helped my plants so much, put out so much new growth.
Everyone's happy?
Everyone's happy. I just did a huge pruning day the other day, and I was expecting everything to be like dead or a lot worse off. And surprisingly, everybody was like flourishing. My Thai constellation has put out 2 new leaves in the last month.
Wow.
Oh, what?
In January. That's great.
And it's in Lekka, mind you. It is in Lekka. And it's just directly under a grow light. And it's so happy there. So I'm just like, have all this wonderful growth. And I posted about it on my story the other day, like all these new little baby leaves coming up. And I just was shocked what was putting out new growth and like so fast.
That's awesome.
So I was like a proud mama. I'm like, my babies, yes. So that's me and my plants. I'm like super excited. All my philodendrons are doing amazing, and I'm getting more philodendrons. So, and that's what we're talking about tonight. So I'm really excited about it.
And there's so much to talk about. It's such a big genus, and it's so popular.
Yeah, totally. And I think Philodendron 2 is also like an umbrella term. I know you did some research. Mm-hmm. Philodendron versus what is
Matophyllums.
Matophyllums.
Thematophyllums, yeah.
So wait, say it again.
So they're thematophyllums.
Thematophyllums?
Yeah.
With
yeah.
Sorry. Thematophyllum. Okay, I've never heard of this, so I'm curious for you to teach me about this.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
you want to start there? Let's
yeah,
do it.
I may as well.
So basically, originally there was only one plant within the thematophyllum variety. It was discovered by this guy, and he was like, it's too different from philodendron to be classified as one. But long story short, no other plants really fit it. Every other plant went under philodendron. Mm-hmm. And even those that were misclassified were still under philodendron. And as we know, a lot of plants get misclassified because of the way the aroids grow within that family.
Yeah.
So...
And we were going to talk about that too.
Absolutely. So within the last, maybe 3 or 4 years now, they've been able to do more genetic research and have been able to genetically differentiate between philodendron and thaumatophyllum.
Okay.
But I also learned that one of the signifying features of a thaumatophyllum is that as their leaves fall off, it forms a trunk.
What?
So,
wait, what?
It forms a trunk. So if you picture like a, full-grown thaumatophyllum bipenifolium, which used to be a philodendron, as the leaves fall off, they leave a hunk where the leaf was.
Okay.
And as it gets big and matures, it actually leaves a trunk in its place. So the very first picture I posted of myself on the Two Girls, One Plant podcast Instagram page is of me sitting on a mature thaumatophyllum bipenifolium.
Yes.
So you can check it out.
Those are like super common, especially in Florida.
Super common.
Like,
they're all over the place.
I always wondered that.
Yeah.
Like, because we're both from Florida and like see them all over there. And I was like, gosh, that's so weird because those are aroids, those are philodendron, but they have a stalk, they have a trunk.
Like a literal trunk.
Yeah. And I was like, is that part of the philodendron? Well, I guess, it's a philodendron. And okay.
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah, reclassified.
So that's a genus, right? Thaumatophyllum is the genus?
I believe if philodendron is a genus, then thaumatophyllum is.
Okay.
Yeah. I can spell it and double check. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So technically, the reason it was changed was because of genetic testing. But that's a big signifier.
Okay,
so
that just like blew my mind. Because like this whole time I'm like, oh yeah, philodendron. And I feel like that happens too all the time.
Oh, I might be thinking of a bipenatophytum, but that's okay. Instead of whatever I said, thaumatophyllum bipenatophytum.
Okay, yeah.
Which used to be the philodendron cellum, like the hope cellum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's a thaumatophyllum.
Oh my God.
I had to look that one up really quick.
Oh my gosh. Okay, my mind's been kind of blown by this. Like,
yeah, cool, right?
It's kind of like when what was it? Sansevieria became Dracaenas, and everybody's like,
weird.
Okay, weird, and you're like, what? I know some people are like super against that.
Yeah, I know.
Protesting, and they might protest this.
Which is a little silly. It's like the protesting Pluto being a dwarf planet. Like, I get it. Like, you're upset for Pluto, but Pluto doesn't care, I promise. Like,
yeah, go listen to our Green Witch episode. We talk about it with Ella. Ella's like, no, she's a planet. She's a big bitch. She will obliterate us.
I did think that was so cute.
I love that episode.
Anyway,
go listen to it. It was episode 4.
Science evolves, y'all.
It does.
So the genuses have changed.
That's so cool. Okay, so let's talk, and we can still umbrella it because I think it's still an umbrella. Philodendron is still technically an umbrella term,
and the care is very similar.
Very similar characteristics. So we can kind of group them together, and we're gonna break it down from like a scientific standpoint. First, I'm very sciencey today.
I'm super excited for you to go through this. So we know that the kingdom is a plant.
Kingdom is plant.
Of course. But what is the order, Madison?
Okay. Well, Julian, it's Alismatuli. Damn it. Damn it. I had it right before.
She did it really good before we started recording, too.
Alismatales.
I like it. That sounds good.
Alismatales, which is the order. So that means that they're flowering plants and they're mostly tropical or aquatic. So that can be a huge variety of different plants across the world.
No kidding.
So they have to be flowering though.
Okay.
So that means that's kind of interesting to think about. There's another order out there that's non-flowering. So that's kind of interesting.
I mean, that's from like lily pads to poinsettias. Like that's a really...
Yeah, I wonder. I would like to look into that more. Future episode. And then next is family, and I can never say this word.
I can do. This one's Araceae.
Say it again?
I've always said it. Araceae.
Araceae. That's how you say it. Okay. Yeah,
that's how I've heard it.
And this is the same. Okay, so it's still a flowering plant, but these flowering plants have a spadix.
So it's like philodendron, anthurium,
Correct.
plants like that.
Peace lily, like those, again, all the spadix. And that's how it is reproduced naturally in the wild. And there's about 3,800 species of these, which is crazy to think about. And then subfamily is Aroideae.
That's how I would say it based on the last one, right?
And that has 3 different little categories. Well, yeah, 3 different. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, 3 different categories because one of them is kind of split.
Yes.
So you have your epiphytics, which is like what people popularly think of as philodendron, and those are just plants that grow in trees above the ground floor. They grow up in the canopy and basically live on other plants.
Yep, and it takes in nutrients from the air, the tree, the soil, water, like anything around its environment. It takes everything in pretty much. So that's epiphytic. And then there's, how do you say this?
I would say hemiepiphytic.
Yeah, that sounds right. Hemiepiphytic. Yeah.
And there's 2 different varieties, but the term itself basically means that it spends half of its life epiphytically. Is that a word? I'm gonna make it one.
We're scientists.
And half of its life on the ground. And that can be split into 2 categories. Some of them start in the canopy, some of them start on the ground, and they both travel in the opposite direction throughout their life as they mature.
Correct, yeah. And then the last one is terrestrial, which isn't like super common. You find these, it's kind of similar to epiphytic. And it's more, I'm pretty sure orchids, if I'm not mistaken.
So some orchids are terrestrial and some are epiphytic. So like the ones you buy at the supermarket are epiphytic, but the like jewel orchids are terrestrial.
Yes. That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ludicias are terrestrial, things like that.
Okay. And then that brings us to our genus, Philodendron. Cool. Yeah. So kind of a little science background and how everything's classified. So it kind of just helps you to break it down piece by piece by piece. And we're going to talk about species a little bit later. We'll break it down even more.
But let's start with just some characteristics on the genus.
Yeesh.
So like what are some things you can expect from plants in this genus?
So biggest thing, 100%, is the leaves. So philodendrons are known for having a huge leaf variety as far as size, shape, color. But the number one characteristic is that when they're young, their juvenile leaves are entirely different from their adult leaves. Really great examples is going to be like your pothos, for instance, and that's not a philodendron per se, but you know how like they'll climb like a trellis and they get bigger leaves,
They'll start to get fenestrations even.
Monstera deliciosa or Monstera anisonii, they have really small leaves, or they're really narrow, or they don't have any fenestrations, which is holes in them. As they get larger and start growing their adult leaves, that's when they start to fenestrate. That's when the leaf shape may change. It's when their color may change. And that is probably like the biggest difference that you can see with a philodendron is definitely the leaves.
Yeah, and most people don't really see that as houseplants because they're usually grown in really small pots. They're not given the opportunity to mature based on the environment that it's in and the care it's being given, which is okay. They're still alive and happy. They're just not going to mature. So you don't often see different leaf shapes for philodendron at home so much as you would out and about.
Yeah. That's like... No, that's definitely, because, like, our homes aren't, like, the best conditions
They're
for
really
plants
not
to thrive like they would in nature. And that process, that's called metamorphosis, so kind of similar to butterflies, which I found really fascinating. It goes through the same scientific change. It's not as prominent as a butterfly. It is gradual. So you will start to see, oh, this leaf now has one fenestration. This next leaf has another one, or this one has different colors. So it's just an ongoing process for this. And And then biggest thing that helps with the leaf change is we talked about epiphytic type philodendron. So as they're, they start on the ground, let's say, and that's where their seed is planted. They have roots in their soil, but they start to climb, right? So as they're climbing up the tree, they have very small juvenile leaves. And as they get higher and they're reaching for the light, as soon as they hit that light to the top of the canopy, that's when their adult leaves start really going through.
Right.
And then just the opposite. If the seed starts up in the canopy on like a branch and it grows and it lives in the branches, but it needs nutrients, and that's when it starts to travel down and go down, and then it gets its nutrients, and then it starts growing its
and its roots will start to find the ground.
And that's aerial roots. Aerial roots, yeah. So we see, do you have aerial roots on any of yours?
Yeah, a few of mine. My moonshine has like aerial roots all over it. I don't know what its issue is. It's like constantly putting out aerial roots.
Those are so fun. They're like chunky little dudes.
They're like little fingers, like poking out of the pot, like looking. I always feel like it's looking for extra nutrients, like if they're not happy.
Yeah.
Which I know isn't the case for most of them, but it's like, it's so funky. Like, I just want to push them back in.
Yeah. This is going to be gross, but it looks like a zit to me when they first come out. I just want to pop
a little
it.
node. You can see that. They look like little nubbins,
I'm gross. I watch Dr. Pimple Popper too much. I'm still subscribed.
Yeah, I got through like 5 seconds of that.
Do you watch her?
Got through like 5 seconds. I was like, I might learn some skincare. And then I got through 5 seconds of it. And I was like, this is not skincare.
When a video is titled Popping Blackheads on Old Man in the Office.
Oh my God. But I mean, some of the pimples on there are like
juicy.
They're they are something else.
The juicy
They're
ones?
like planets. All right. We're going to get back to philodendron.
Welcome back to Two Girls, One Zit. Okay, back to Philo.
Rebrand 2020.
Sorry, off topic. Aerial roots. They look like zits. That's great. But for aerial, we're 5.
Doing good.
So there's 2 type of root systems. So we talked about the aerial roots, and then there's, how do you say it? It's subterranean roots.
Yeah.
So that's just your common roots that are, in the soil, grow in the soil, take up nutrients. Very similar to your aerial roots. You mentioned they come out of the nodes or the inner nodes.
Yep.
And they just cling on for dear life to the trees, the rocks, whatever environment they're in.
Literally whatever they can grab onto. And in people's homes, it's more like trellises, moss poles. I've seen people tuck them like around their doorways. They'll have like cordatum philodendrons like hanging around windows and stuff.
I've heard people in Florida, they call them crawlers because they literally just like, with their arrow roots, just like crawl from like lawn to lawn, and they're like more of a nuisance down there. So they call them crawlers because of it, and they just like ruin your yards because they're just crawling and like rooting with their aerial roots and their subterranean roots, just like a spider almost, like all over.
They are all over Florida.
Yeah, like people, like I feel like in Florida have machetes in their home just for those plants. Like seriously, because like they're a nuisance down there, which is crazy to think about.
They're everywhere.
They're so coveted.
I know, up here they are. So what are your 3 most coveted philodendron?
Ooh, okay. So
I'm really curious.
My faves, my top 3 faves is definitely philodendron micans because they look like little hearts and they're velvety to the touch. I love Ring of Fire because I love that it is very like
serrated?
Serrated, yeah. I almost said chainsaw, but that doesn't make sense. Serrated sides, and it has these splotches of orange that like comes out in the variegation.
On those is really lovely.
And then White Knight. I love my White Knight. The white goes all through the stem into the leaf, and then when it's coming out with the new leaf on the stem, you can see this beautiful white stripe go through the new leaf. And that's what's so funny about philodendron. When they come out, it looks like that meme of Cinderella's stepsister putting on that glass slipper. We'll post that on our story.
Her foot getting stuck. That's exactly what it looks like.
Those are so funny. What about you? What's your top three faves?
Top three. So this is hard. This probably changes pretty often, but for right now, my top three would be my hammerhead golds, just because I really love funky leaf shapes, pedantums and stuff like that. My brandy, the Brantianum. I'm actually not 100% sure.
I just call it brandy. I'm hey Brandy, what up, girl?
Everybody knows what it is.
The silver looking one.
The silver looking one. But I'll probably post a picture of that one too with the Cinderella foot, because it's putting out 4 or 5 leaves and it's not even doing them properly. They're all over the place, stuck together.
That's why I love them.
I do love it. It's dorky and cute. It's we'll see how it does in the spring. And then I'm gonna say the squamiferum, just because I just saw one. This girl I was hanging out with just bought one, and it has the cool leaf shape and it has the fuzzy petiole, and I just love it. So,
I know what you're talking about.
They're really cute.
I want a fuzzy philodendron.
Yeah,
with the they look like little hairs. Get out of here now with it.
It's so cute.
Oh, I want one.
Yeah, that's the same girl that got the varicosum. Oh. She got the varicosum and the squamiferum. It was a fuzzy day.
Oh my god.
I know.
I love that.
I know. It was fun. Gosh. She had a really good time. Garrett showed us he was selling a piece of his squamiferum. She bought a piece.
Jealous.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been thinking about it. I'm it's a really nice plant.
Dang, that's really cool.
So it's one of my top 3 right now.
That's cool. So those are our faves. Let's talk about common ones that you can find pretty easily in your plant shops and nurseries.
Yeah, like the heartleaf philodendron that we mentioned.
Super cute. Brazils.
Brazils are all over the place.
Super common, always variegated anywhere you go.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
They're pretty. It's like the heartleaf, but with a dash of color, a little bit of lime in there.
Yeah. Prince of Orange.
Prince of Orange is
Red
really
Emerald. Hopes. Enjoys. Xanadu's are fun.
Are Enjoys philodendron?
So there's Enjoy pothos, and then there's Enjoy philodendron.
Ooh, yeah. I have to go look that up.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting where a lot of species have the same common name.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry we don't have any of these Latin names pulled up, but I don't know if you've been listening to our podcast, but we can barely pronounce shit.
Struggling through a lot of them here.
So we're using common names, and we hope it's common enough where it's common in your areas, because common names vary so much.
They do.
So, and then let's talk rare ones. Let's talk about the Big Daddy real quick.
All right.
The $2,000 one. You say it.
That the Spiritus Sancti.
Spiritus Skank. I hate myself.
It's like sanctity.
Sancti. Spiritus Sancti.
Yeah.
Got it.
Spiritus Sancti.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that thing is a monster.
Yeah.
I still can't get over that picture. I know we've mentioned it before, but that picture with that guy, I think it's a guy, I believe.
Yeah, holding the massive plant.
And that's the holy grail.
Yeah.
You can't really find.
No, there are more now. I think they're being propagated by tissue culture.
Oh, wow.
Last I saw in a video from NSC Tropical, so they're probably a couple hundred in the world now instead of, the small handful that there were before.
Yeah, I'm sure it's because people saw that photo and were like, okay, we need this.
Yeah.
And then it just became in demand.
Well, there's so much money to be made for people that can make it happen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I had a plant like that, I'd be like, here's a cutting. By the way, it's $500. And there's people out there who would pay for it.
Absolutely.
Me being one of them.
I know. It's I just want my poor man's Spiritus Sancti with my Adabappa onesie.
I love that one. That one's so fun. I still have a cutting for you.
Ooh, yeah.
I still have it. I keep forgetting it every time I see Jillian, everybody. I'm like the worst friend ever, but I literally have a cutting of it for her.
That's what it is to me. It's like the poor man's spirit is.
It is. It really is.
That's enough for me.
And then there's the Burl Marks Fantasy, which is like the variegated Burl Marks. That one's really pretty.
Yeah.
Florida Beauties.
Yep, those are super popular and they're gorgeous. The variegated ones are absolutely stunning.
Melanochrysis?
Melanochrysums.
Chrysoms. That one's rare.
Those are stunning too.
But you can still find those.
You can find them. They're just not super cheap, but like they're not crazy expensive. They're just, you know,
we're looking at
not your average house plant.
$35, maybe $40.
Yeah, maybe like $40.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, depending on the size. Like a gloriosum too.
Oh, love gloriosums. Those like you know Brittany, right? Yeah, she came to your house for plant swap. Sorry, Brittany. She gave okay, story time. So she was driving up, she saw a post on Facebook Marketplace, and this gal had like philodendron Birkins and gloriosums, like all these different type of philodendrons that are like not really common.
Yeah, Birkin's another good one.
And it was in Boulder, and she messaged me and she was like, hey, I'm going to run up here and pick up a few Birkins and gloriosum. Do you want me to pick you up anything?
Ooh.
And I was like, hells yeah.
Yeah, right?
So I was like, I just want a gloriosum. I'm good on a Birkin right now. I really have been wanting a gloriosum for a long time. So I was like, I trust you. Pick out whichever one. She picked it out for me, and we met at Nick's, and because that's where we do all our plant swaps, her and I. And yeah, she gave me a gloriosum. I Venmoed her, and so I love that. I love that, like, people, especially in like our little like group of friends and community, like we all look out for each other and like cuttings.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm driving to Foco to pick up this elbow. Do you want me to get you one while I'm out there? You can Venmo me. Yeah. Like,
you better believe I have 2 philodendron micans sitting at home ready for, I think, Justice.
Okay, yeah.
Who's coming to the plant swap, so she can pick those up. Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's got to pick them up when somebody needs it.
I know. I love that. I love that. And we talked about pink princesses.
Super popular.
I think that's probably like one of the most
it's up there.
sought after one.
They're just so hard to find. Like, people buy them as soon as they're available.
Yeah. Silver swords are really becoming super trendy right now. I think they're becoming a little bit, I wouldn't say like common, but not rare. They're just like more uncommon to find.
They're a little more accessible, which is good.
Yeah. And then there's painted ladies. Those are super cute.
Those are beautiful.
Their little stalks are pink. And it's like a light lime green leaf. And then white knights. Or no, I have a white knight. White wizards.
White wizards.
And white wizards are different from white knights because the white wizard, the leaves have the white variegation, but not in the stalk. Where the white knight has the white in the stalk and the leaf.
I'm pretty sure that's right. And I think the white wizard tends to get bigger leaves.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it.
I have a white knight. And that's what I've noticed when I've done my research. So, yeah.
Yeah. They're beautiful.
I love them. I think philodendron's like my favorite.
I have so many of them just because they're pretty easy-going. Like, once you get the right medium, the right humidity, like, they're pretty happy.
Yeah, and they like more like chunky soil.
Yeah, I actually linked it in that same episode, the top care tips. Maybe I should just link the lights and the soil in this one too. I'll probably link it below, but
good
I use like an orchid mix basically that's like chunky bark, charcoal, perlite. I saw like a YouTube video where people mix in like broken pieces of pottery, like literally anything to make the soil nice and chunky because they're epiphytic, so they really don't live in the soil. They don't like heavy houseplant soil. Yeah.
They don't like to have their feet wet.
Nope.
They like to be dry, so it's okay to like kind of scale back on the watering with them. I would say like for most of them, start with once a week.
Yeah, I'll like
soak
mine for like 10 or 15 minutes once or twice a week, depending on how they're doing. I'll like lift the pot to see how heavy it is. And because you can't really use a moisture meter because of how chunky the soil is.
Oh.
So if you lift the
that makes
pot,
sense.
you get a really good idea of how much water is in it based on how heavy it is. So when it starts to get lighter, I'll go ahead and water it again.
And okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it works.
I like that. And then most of them, they don't like direct light, and they can like survive in like low light, dark spaces because a lot of them live below the canopies.
Right.
But a lot of them are still stretching for that light and growing towards the light.
Mm-hmm.
So when it gets towards that light, like it should be more so like indirect.
I agree. I like bright indirect light.
Yeah, definitely. And like when the leaves are typically darker, that means that it can just withstand darker light.
Lower light,
pretty
yeah.
much. Darker light, that's such an oxymoron.
We
Dark
know what
light,
you
what?
mean.
I know what I'm talking about.
And anything with variegation is always going to want a little more. So like your white nights and things like that might like a little extra light.
Yep, and they're easy to propagate. You just cut it at the node, stick it in water.
Yeah.
Like 4 weeks later, you have a new plant. And all of us plant nerds love free plants. And we love trading with our friends to get more plants. That's how this all works, people. It's a vicious cycle. We love it.
It really is, though.
Cool. Awesome.
And I would say humidity, too, is the only thing I would add.
Yes.
Some of them are fine with low humidity, like the Philodendron Brazil.
Yeah.
You know, it's fine anywhere in your house. But like my Prince of Orange will put out like kind of crispier leaves if there's not humidity.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of get stuck in
I've
the
noticed
sheath.
that, like, when they're unfurling their Cinderella foot, they, like, need a lot of help. I usually spray them.
Yeah.
I'll just hose it down with my spray bottle, and, like, I found that kind of helps. But, yeah, having a humidifier will help, too.
Yeah. Nothing
but I've
crazy.
noticed
Like
that-
50 to 60% is nothing crazy. But
Yeah, when I haven't misted them, I've noticed that they will put out, like, they'll either be kind of small or have, like, little brown spots, or they're kind of, like,
exactly.
crispy.
They're just a little crispier. They're not as happy looking. They're like a little crinkly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've noticed that. You're like, oh, my baby, she's going to be born. And then, like, it comes out and you're like, what the hell?
Like, what did I do?
I'm
so sad.
sorry. Birth defect. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry. Yeah, so humidity, definitely. Because these guys live in, like, common areas is, like, the, like, tropical areas of, like, the Americas. I found out they're not indigenous to Asia. Like,
No, at all.
yeah, like Eastern Asia and like Australia. They came over, they're like alien to those like parts of the world.
Interesting.
I had no idea. And that's where
Yeah, I
like
didn't
most of
either.
our like coveted philodendrons come from.
Yeah,
Is
a lot of them do come out of
Asia.
like, Thailand and Singapore and stuff like that.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting in my
That is
findings.
interesting.
So.
I know that they're all over South America and all over like
Yes.
Central America and the Caribbean, which includes Florida because
Yeah.
it's basically part of the Caribbean.
Yeah, and that's another place that we get our, you know, beloved plants from too in our homes. So yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I think that's pretty complete look at philodendron.
Definitely. And if there's a genus you guys want us to talk about in the future, Hoyas would be fun, Anthuriums,
Maybe begonias.
begonias is a great one. So if there's one you guys want us to talk about, please let us know on our Instagram posts. We would love to know like what you think and what other genus we should talk about.
Yeah, what's popular? What are you guys into? Like,
Yeah.
let's hear it so we can do some research.
Yes. Cool. Awesome.
Thank you all for listening. Make sure to follow us at Two Girls One Plant Podcasts. We're on Instagram and Facebook, and the podcast and all of our episodes are up on SoundCloud.
Yes. And follow our individuals.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find them down in the show notes below. Thank you all for listening. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Bye.
Bye.